Listen to the radio, Harry and Edna's Wireless Show. You heard it from the Three Bells.
What-o, Harry?
And what-o, Edna. And welcome to Harry and Edna on the Wireless. We are broadcasting from the Solent while we face dear old England.
What-ho?
Well, it's been a while. Welcome to our new season of Harry and Edna on the Wireless.
We were trying to work out the last time we actually were formally in a studio must have been, I reckon it must have been nearly 2 years ago. We've been doing a lot of on-location stuff, but a while since we've been in our studio, and we're in our own studio, bobbing along in the Solent.
We are. We've been very lucky to sit in our glorious own studio. And dear listener, it's not a sight to behold because Harry's made the most of being in our own studio and he's doing this broadcast in his pyjamas.
Well, I just had a bath and it was just too early to sort of get dressed, I thought.
You just had a what?
A bath.
Bath. It's an ongoing sketch in our house between bath and bath.
And all the other things like path and path and all these sort of things.
Book and book.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you who are from up north, you too may have the same problem that I discovered. The children like their newfangled gadgets, and we've got one of these things where you can talk to your device and it turns your telly on and stuff like that. But it didn't understand good East Yorkshire.
No, she was ever so confused, poor lass, wasn't she? She was trying to take you down all sorts of paths that you did not want to go down.
Yeah, there's certain things that these electronic devices do not understand. One is
And the other one was quite funny because one of our favourite broadcasters did a broadcast from this particular town. And what was it they had to reprogram with the Hull accent because it couldn't pick it up?
Well, it was the Festival of Culture in Hull in 2017, and well, they had all sorts of like arty stuff, the sort of stuff that Harry absolutely adores.
Not.
and one was you could say something into this microphone in about half a mile away, it would be projected onto a building, but it was having trouble understanding the Hull accent, or the Hull accent to say it correctly, and it didn't understand words like Coca-Cola.
No, so they had to teach it Coca-Cola. It's actually Coca-Cola.
And they didn't understand the word
No.
Well, actually, no, as our device didn't understand the word it kept saying, I do not know what is.
I do not understand what you are trying to do.
Well, do you reckon it would have understood Duke Ellington?
Hopefully.
What-ho?
Well, this is our new season of Harry and Edna on the Wireless, broadcasting from the Solent. Now, new season, so what we're going to do different? We've got to do something just a little bit different.
Well, I thought you had several things that you were going to tell our dear listener that's changed.
Well, actually, our life has changed somewhat, has it not? It really has.
I would go from somewhat to radically, massively changed.
Apart from we've moved from one end of the country to the other.
Yes, and we're now down even more glorious south.
Away from my beautiful home.
Even further south. Even as south as you can go.
That's right, because we are actually bobbing along merrily here in the sunny Solent. What we're going to do, we listened to some of your feedback, and we were always told you want a bit more music and not as, yakking on about my northern accent and things like that. So we blew that straight away within the first 5 seconds. It
wouldn't be Harry and Edna without me teasing you about something, though.
I'm unfortunately going to have to do a few of these shows myself. Just alone.
No.
Just me.
Not
no.
Without me.
Without you. Well, it's not my fault.
I know. To be fair, I've changed job, which is why we've come down to the sunny south.
But we shall tell you more about that. But we are going to do some things the same, aren't we?
We are.
We are still going to go on location and do shows because we love going out and finding out about the British vintage scene all over the Great British Isles.
And we love meeting and talking to all the different people involved in the scene.
That's right. And if any of and we may have some guests if they can brave the Atlantic Ocean to come and see us.
Well, I thought you just said with Solent. We're not quite on the Atlantic just yet. Well, saying that's just to the left of us, is it? It
is. If you go past us, it's America next. There's nothing else.
The big blue briny thing.
That's it. We are literally, it's the pond and then America. Or if you just veer off a bit, you might hit Greenland or possibly Iceland. Maybe Canada.
Yeah.
Go south, hit Mexico.
Well, So we can go in any direction. Any
Caribbean.
direction. The world's our oyster.
Argentina.
No, see, my geography's gone now.
Yeah,
I can do left America, right, the other bit, Europe. That's all we need to know.
That's all we need. So we're going to slightly change the format, although we've kind of ruined that already.
What ho?
Glenn Miller, who is indeed jumping around. Well, snafuing, jumping around.
What is snafu?
I don't know. I was dreading you're going to ask me that. I really don't know. But if you do know, you can always contact us. Probably best way by the old Facebook if you just look up Harry and Edna on the wireless. I'm sure we are the only Harry and Edna on the wireless.
Yeah, I don't know of any other.
Certainly not on Facebook.
No.
Now, we were mentioning that I might have to do a few shows by myself, and there has been dramatic change here at Harry and Edna HQ. So what have you been doing? What have you done to ruin my life?
It's not ruin your life. It's to make you enjoy life a little bit more and give you a much better life, bringing you down to even sunnier south climes. I've got a job doing the thing I love so very, very much, which is working back in heritage again. And I've been so fortunate to look after a castle now, which is really exciting, and no 2 days are ever the same. So I've gone back in time slightly further, a lot further than the 1940s. So we do lots of knightly things.
So does that mean instead of you being in your, like a tea dress or something now, you're wearing a big pointy hat? And
no, I'm not Harry Potter. or waving a sword.
No, I was thinking like one of those people that had pointy hats and they'd wave it and lasso.
You make me sound like a witch.
People would joust and they would have a big cone on their head.
Well, they don't joust with cones on their head. They have
armour.
No,
the lady does, and she like waves a little handkerchief at them and they go off.
Oh, I see. You thinking of like a damsel in distress, fair maiden type hat.
Well, yeah, it's sort of like Rapunzel. I've seen it on my children's books.
I'm not sure they would have worn massively pointy hats. But anyway,
that's why the castle entrances are pointed, so the ladies could get in.
No, it's not. Don't let Harry give you a history lesson at all. But it's really exciting, and it's meant that I've gone back to doing something I really, really love, which is working in heritage and in history, sort of immersed in all things historical and old.
So you turned your back on music?
No, I haven't turned my back on music. I've moved on from music now, so I'm no longer in a music theatre, but I still love music just as much. But it's really going back to the thing I really is in my veins and under my skin, which is heritage and history.
So the sort of music you get now is people with one hand on their ear going, "Ho, and in number."
No, it's slightly more medievally, but not quite my time period, to be quite honest.
That was my medievally
was
sing-along.
it? Oh, I thought you were doing some sort of hippie kind of chant type thing. But But no, we do lots of events, and unfortunately, certainly throughout summer, that will be taking up a huge amount of my time. So I might have to leave poor old Harry to hold the fort, look after the children, keep the boat afloat.
Well, indeed, because Mini Harry is not so mini, and he's so about doing this. But Micro Harry, I don't know what to call him.
Mini Harry.
Mini Harry, he's up for it.
Yeah, and he's ever so chatty, bless him.
So we may well have a bit more. So, why are we playing a bit of John Dankworth then?
Well, it was for me to say goodbye to my music theatre days and the Stables Theatre, which is where I worked. And that was formed by the late Sir John Dankworth and Cleo Lane.
What ho?
This is Harry and Edna broadcasting to you via the radio, plus the internet streaming and listen again. It's downloadable via podcast. To get all of these, go to harryandedna.co.uk.
What ho?
Harry, what on earth was that?
That was the great John Le Measurer.
It's an awful version. It's terrible.
It is A Night in Berkeley Square, which is one of my favourite all-time songs. And there are those that say, some people say, John Le Measurer did the
talky version. No,
the ultimate version of that.
He didn't sing it. He just talked his way through that. Is that because he can't sing?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
He had actually pretty much destroyed his voice because he was a very heavy smoker.
Right.
And they did this stage show, the Dad's Army stage show, and toured around, and all the characters did an act, sing a song, and he couldn't sing, so he decided to give it a proper a gentleman's version of Nightingale in Berkeley Square.
Oh, that's a terrible version, I'm sorry. Some of you may love it. Maybe it's a Marmite song where you either love it or you absolutely hate it. But I'm afraid I'm on the absolutely hate it, it's terrible side. I'm guessing, Harry, you're on the absolutely love it side.
I certainly am. I mean, I just don't know why you could hate it. There is just so much for it going on.
Well, we are sort of known, aren't we, for playing sort of different versions of songs that we've had over the years, because we like to embrace not only the classic original versions of some of the tracks that we all know and love, but we also like a little bit of a modern slant onto some of the tracks.
Well, indeed, we've been thrown off many a radio station because of our music policy.
I know, and I know lots of people like you to be sort of true vintage, stick to the absolute original version, but I think it's really important to celebrate that the fact that this music is still going and it's still popular and alive today, and lots of our artists are taking what is sort of the original versions and turning it into their own versions.
This is true. If you did go to harryedna.co.uk and click on the tab that says wireless and you go to some of the very early songs, we used to occasionally slip in an electro swing, which we're not going to do again. Because,
not yet.
Yeah, we got thrown off so many radio stations for doing that. We got fired quite a number of times. But we're going to play a modern song.
Okay, so brace yourselves, everybody.
Yes, so we'll see if we get thrown off the radio again.
But stick with it. There's a reason why we're doing this.
There is a reason, because I heard this song because my children were playing it. And I thought, you know what, I recognise that. So this is the modern version. Well, not the modern version. This is, lyrically, this is original.
Yeah. So it's just a modern take on a classic original song. So
or is it? All will be revealed. So who is it then?
It's Train, and play that song.
What ho?
He did a song back in 1939 called Heart and Soul.
Ah, now it all comes together.
It does. And we're going to play this now and see if you can recognise this track at all, because I think there's something remarkably familiar.
What ho?
I tell you, that took some finding in our 78 collection.
I know, and we were so chuffed to look through our 78s, well, through your Hoagie Carmichael collection, and then realise that we actually had it as part of our 78s.
Which we should explain, that's why it's a little bit creaky crackly, and so some of our songs are that we play a little bit creaky crackly.
Because they are original.
Yeah, played on the 78, which is one of the advantages of us bobbing about in the Solent, because we were able to do the studio to our spec, and one was to have a 78 gramophone.
Yes, and we must say thanks as well to our chum Barry, who donated a whole vast amount of 78, so the boat's sitting even deeper into the Solent now, isn't it, with the weight? We
haven't actually managed to listen to every one.
No, we're halfway.
Boxes and boxes came to us.
I think we're about halfway through now, aren't we?
Yes, so Barry from Cowes and the Isle of Wight, we salute you, because you are forever our hero.
And keeping our boat deep in the water.
But aren't you impressed then? We managed to find Hoagie Carmichael, Heart and Soul, which sounds tremendously like Play That Song by them Train folk.
And the thing is, it sort of kept the same tune, didn't it, essentially, as well?
It's basically
still chopsticks.
It's exactly the same tune. All they've done is changed the lyrics, and obviously the production is a little different, and it's not like an orchestra playing it. It's a pop combo duo-y, quartet-y train thing.
Do they not use some of the same words then? They changed completely?
No, all the words are completely different.
Why, have you listened to both side by side?
I have.
Over and over?
Yeah, because I kept humming this, Play That Song. And I kept thinking, I know this song, and it's so catchy. And it took me a while to realise it's Hoagie Carmichael, and I do like Hoagie. And
it's a beautiful version as well, isn't it? It's one that you can sort of close your eyes and drift away to.
What ho?
Since our sort of sojourn down south, Harry, quite a lot has changed to us and the family and our life since we've ventured down to sunny south.
Yeah, because occasionally we're not waterbound on the Solent.
We're not, no. We like to stretch our legs a little bit, don't we?
We do live in a home, in a house, on dry land.
I know. And do you know
facing dear England.
What's super special about our new house? Apart from the fact it's lovely and old. We live in an old house.
Well, we always did live in an old house, just this one is like mega old.
Yeah.
And Queen Victoria's well and truly on the throne when this was built.
Yeah, and they just built it with such style and panache, and it's absolutely beautiful. But do you know what else, dear listener, it has?
it's got a huge crack in the kitchen.
No, apart from the new crack that's appeared that's slightly worrying, but we're trying not to think about that.
Well, it's rather exciting, I think, because when guests come round, they say, like, where's the kitchen? And I say, well, this afternoon it was at the back of the house, but it might be next door's garden now.
I know. Don't worry about it, Harry. It's tiny cracks. Chill. It's fine. We're quite excited with the fact we've got a little sort of square turrety bit on the house, and our daughter is up in her bedroom is what we call the turret room. That's so exciting, don't you think?
Yes, because everybody wants a turret on their house.
Well, exactly. Not everyone can have a turret on their house unless you go to a nice sort of Victorian-esque place.
But it wasn't all without effort.
No.
Because we moved down from way up north. Well, actually, it wasn't north. We were right in the middle of the country, and now we're right down south. Broadcasting to you, dear listener, from the Solent, looking at dear England. But we virtually killed our car doing it because I was going back and forth in our. If you'd ever seen our events, and you've seen us like set up, we had like a people mover which we would take the seats out to turn into a van because we used to take lots of stuff, and you killed it. Well, we killed it.
Well, I know. I was going to say you always have this kind of grand idea where, you know, you have this romantic view that you move house and it's all packed up in a van and off you trundle, and then you go to your new house and you unpack your van and it's all lovely and organised and calm. But we chose not to do it the simple way, did we, Harry?
No, I moved some of that furniture about 5 times.
I know, and we moved over several months in the Berlingo that we used to have, the red car / van / workhorse.
So much so
it sort of fell apart, didn't it? Yeah. Even the gears were going. It just, I'm tired. I've had enough.
So it was put out to retirement. We had to buy a new. Well, we've got a little estate car now because we're not doing quite so many events. And then what happened, eh?
Hey, listen to this, dear listener. I'd just like you to say,
after 5 days,
5 days of an almost brand new car, and who decided to scrape half the car down the side?
Scrape the car down the side. It's a frozen day, and I was scraping off the ice off the windscreen.
No, you just misjudged reversing into our drive, didn't you, Harry? You reversed into the post that we've got that demarks our garden to our next door neighbour's garden, and decided to put a nice big scrape down the side of our 5-day-old car.
This is Harry Edna on the wireless, and you're listening to Bob Crosby and a Suit.
What ho?
That was a Zoot Suit for My Sunday Girl by Bob Crosby and his orchestra.
Whoa. Harry, when we went into that track, you just sort of crashed out the fact that you had scraped the car. You just
now, one of the great things about our new studio...
No. Right, come on. Finish the story off. Admit your mistake on air.
Well, it's not so much that it's a mistake, it's keeping up with tradition.
Yeah, because who was the one who reversed into the fire escape in our last car? Oh, that was you.
No, it wasn't the last car. It's the one before that one.
No. Was it really?
The last one, I hit a bollard.
Oh, you reversed into a bollard, didn't you, and cracked all the back bumper not long after that, wasn't you, as well?
No, the fire escape one was the car
before.
Before that.
You see, I've only done one ickle reverse into a post, but because Harry had already cracked the bumper, it went unnoticed. So I remember someone pulling in a emergency stop because there was a rabbit in the road and someone went ploughing into behind them. That was the car before, wasn't it? Before Feggy, the red one.
That was before we were even married.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
I saved a rabbit's life, though. Well, the guy behind me shouldn't have been going so close and not paying attention, should he? Yeah. So, following tradition, we've busted the cars 5 days after we've had them.
Yeah, it's repaired now.
Sorry, that was the royal we, meaning you.
Anyway, moving on. So we're talking about the new studio, and we can play original 78s now, which is great. And we're going to play one of my favourites, which is one that we don't know who it's by because the label's all mangled up. We know the track's The Way You Look Tonight, but we don't know what it is. But one of the things we did get recently as a present to you was a gramophone. And what did that do to our children? Did it confuse them? Well,
they were absolutely fascinated, weren't they? And they just absolutely loved putting the 78 on the gramophone and then delicately lowering the arm and then just hearing the track playing out. And then it was just fascinating.
It wasn't just 78, was it? Because you got one of these new Brit-pop albums.
Yes, I did. And
it's only about 20 years old, but it was still new by our standards.
It was. And the funny thing was, when your children start singing along to it, you think, oh how on earth do you know these tracks? But
It was Oasis, wasn't it?
It was Oasis, and I think they were kind of classic
Don't
Oasis
look
tunes.
back in anger, I heard you say.
That's the club style version, but but they were singing along to it, and it was just ever so. I had a moment where I just thought, oh my goodness, here's my children singing along to songs that I was rocking out to in the 90s.
Well, we do all the usual social media, and we actually I put a photo on the Instagram of them both, like, just staring intently.
Mesmerised by this disc going round and round and round.
Yeah.
And I think it's because you can control the music. You're in control of it, aren't you? And you can see it, how far it is down into the track. And it's a bit like a book. I like reading paperbacks and books. I like a proper book in my hand to read.
I was thinking, can I cancel my daughter's Spotify account?
No, I think it was in the moment. She was in the moment for a bit and then passed out the moment, back into modern day life. But it was lovely to see, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Something we just was normal for us is quite novel for them.
Yeah, because she tried to use one of these apps on her phone to identify this track which we're about to play, because we don't know who it is. And even the phone app doesn't got a clue who it is.
So if you know, dear listener, we would love you to enlighten us.
Yeah, if you want to get hold of us, simply go to Harry and Edna on the wireless via Facebook. It's probably the easiest way. Or go to harryandedna.co.uk, and there's a little tab there that says contact. But anyway, I'm sure you can get hold of us one way or another. But this is a bit of Mr. Unknown and The Way You Look Tonight.
What ho?
There we go. A little bit of 78 shellac there, and The Way You Look Tonight. It's an one without a label on. Well, it has a label, but we can't read it.
Yeah, and some of the shellacs that we've been given are just so old. It's brilliant, but they are a little bit. Well, they don't always work, do they? Because they're not flat anymore. They're slightly warped.
Yeah, we've tried ironing them, but that doesn't work either.
No, and you can just see the sort of needle bouncing up and down on the record as it goes round.
It is a joy to see, and you can see it because we're on all the social media, and we even do the YouTube thing.
Do we?
We do. So usually know harryandedna.co.uk, and there's a little YouTube icon. If you click on that, every now and again, usually about once every 2 weeks, I upload what I call 60 seconds of either vinyl stroke shellac joy.
Yes.
Guess what that is? It's in the clues in the title. It's
a minute of you playing something.
Pretty much. All it is, I'm not in it. Well, you might see my hand as I touch the needle. I usually on the 78 or sometimes or a bit of vinyl. A bit of vinyl. I played a bit of Buddy Holly once. I just pay.
Do you know
60
Buddy
seconds.
Holly?
Yes,
I
yes.
found him, didn't I, for 50p in a charity shop. Shocking.
What, in shellac?
No, on vinyl. I thought it was a bit of a bargain, I thought.
I do like a bit of Buddy. Every now and again I want to know what the kids of today are listening to.
Yeah, and I found him squirreled away at the back of a charity shop, all on his own for 50p. So I thought, we can't leave Buddy in the charity shop.
So that's where he went when on that aeroplane.
Yeah, he didn't. He ended
flew
up in
to a charity shop somewhere on the Isle of Wight.
Yeah. But that's a nice and discovered joy. Now I've got a record player, is to go looking around the charity shops for some vinyl, and we've got Benny Goodman and all sorts now, haven't we, on vinyl?
We've got to find. I know you bought it. I don't know where we put it because there's masses of records and 78s. But you've got the Gang Show, Meet the Boys, because that's Ain't Our Fop Mum. But the Gang Show is the Scouts, isn't it?
Yeah, where they used to put on a performance, didn't they? Like the
Gang Show.
It's called the Gang Show, but it's like an entertainment show, wasn't it? Back in the day, that the Scouts used to put on. And didn't they sort of do a bit of a grown-ups take-off of it for Ain't Our Fop Mum?
Possibly.
Well,
I haven't seen it Ain't Our Fop Mum for about 20, 30 years. And last time I watched it, you could see why it hadn't been repeated on TV. It was a bit insensitive in certain parts.
Yeah. So the Gang Show Scout
we're going to have
show
to play
thing.
Some of them. I don't know if they still do the Gang Show thing.
I don't think
our
so.
Our son's a Scout, and he hasn't.
I don't think so.
And dob or anything like that.
No. And the Goodies did a version of the Scouts, but it's not like that either.
That's a comedy trio from the 70s.
Oh, we love the Goodies.
Age.
Oh, my kids love the Goodies, don't they? So going back to our lovely collection of vinyl, we will be scouting around the shops for some classic vinyl as well.
Yeah. And going back to, you can watch us play a little bit of it. 60 Seconds of Joy. I try to put it up usually on a Monday, so that if you've got that horrible commute, you can listen to it on the way home and watch a nice bit of classic music.
But also, when
watch the needle bounce up and down.
Yeah. and us having to change the needle every so many records.
Well,
But
not in that 60 seconds. It takes me longer than that to do it.
I know, it takes about another 30 seconds to change the needle, but that we have had some, like we said earlier, some amazing 78s given to us, and some of them are just absolute gems, aren't they?
They really are, and it's going to take us probably the rest of our lives to go through the sheer number we have. Behind us in the studio is actually piles of them, but we will get round to cataloguing them and working out which one is which. And
just, playing some of those shellacs that they were so covered in dust and dirt because they'd come out of a loft. But it was lovely. It was a joy to clean them down and to listen to them again, probably after many, many years of them being lain untouched.
Exactly, and that's the great thing about this show, and I'm just going to do a bit of an advert here, because like we just played The Way You Look Tonight, that might not have been played in 70-odd years, because no one's got the faintest idea who it is. And the poor chap sung his heart out and no one knows.
And it's such a lovely classic song as well, isn't it?
It's a bit of a dance track, isn't it? Because normally that's a bit of a ballad, isn't it, where they're singing to their loved one. But you could imagine doing a sort of a waltz or a rumba, not rumba, but...
no, just a waltz, just swooning around the dance floor with your partner, snuggled up together.